The why has been explained in detail. Rather than talking theory, I thought we'll actually take up an example where we are trying to develop a pilot for Chamba. Chamba is a backward district and it was very prosperous about 100 years back, but it's fallen in bad times now. And how can we propel Chamba from what it is now to a 21st century village which is modern, growing, etc. If this can be done for Chamba, it can also be done for most of the hill states, etc., like Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, the northeast, and about the 200 odd Maoist infested districts, which don't seem to have any industry. So let's look at Chamba in more detail. In the past, I'm from Chamba, so sometimes I'll be using we rather than the abstract Chamba. In the past, we were leading and had a head start from the 1900 onwards. The present post-independence, we were slow in absorbing the developments, and other districts in Himachal overtook us. And now we are about the 50th most backward district in India. The future, our people are simple, honest. With 21st century's techniques, we can regain our earlier position and thrive. This presentation outlines the what, why, and how. Over a century ago, we were the second electric powerhouse in India in 1906, even before Lahore and Delhi, etc., got electricity. We had state hospitals, we had state government schools, even a modern museum, an efficient and advanced administration with sewage plants, drainage, water supply, firefighting systems, etc. Many respected and effective officers of Himachal and the government of India were from Chamba. However, Chamba has fallen into bad times. Some of the things are in the education front, poor schooling. We are very weak in English. Classes 10 plus onwards, most good students go outside to study outside Chamba, each costing about 10 to 15,000 per month. Similarly, for colleges, professional colleges, once a youth go out, they never return back, resulting in a brain drain. Our healthcare system is understaffed, especially with qualified doctors, facilities, and patients are often sent outside to Pathankot, Tanda, etc. Staff avoid being posted to Chamba, especially because of lack of facilities, schools, education, and future openings for their families and children. Existing doctors have stayed on in Chamba and prefer being here, creating an inbreeding and an obstacle for newcomers. Work opportunities. Government jobs is no solution because then there's no industry. Conventional industry is not economically viable because inputs and markets are outside. Transport costs are uneconomical, hence no manufacturing jobs. Work jobs openings in Chamba, unemployment is rampant. 10th class pass students are forced to become domestic servants. People need to be trained to become entrepreneurs and not job seekers. Many good tourism locations exist but are not sufficiently developed and viable. Can Chamba leapfrog into the 21st century in the future? Young India, as we talked earlier, 70% of India is young. Sustainable growth and prosperity are needed for new century. Bold thinking action is needed. What? How can we leapfrog from today's rural villages? 70% of the third world live in poverty, hunger, illiterate, unemployed, living in inhuman abodes and deprivations, to a 21st century village where they can have the comforts and facilities and future comparable to today's first world cities. But sustainability by Mother Earth, retaining their ancient knowledge, culture, civilization thing. This change is gut-wrenching and painful, with a power shift ensuring conflicts, even wars. From an agricultural civilization, it's easier. to transition to the future knowledge-based economy, then from an agriculture to industry and then to knowledge economy. Quick solutions to prosperity are needed. Our people are restive. We will not wait another 65 years of independent India. Out of the box thinking is needed. We challenge you to read and understand this and form virtual think tanks to debate these and question these and use internet-based crowdsourcing for ideas generation for the future of Earth. Why? We are running out of time and resources. To continue with the present approach for development, we would need at least 3 more planet Earths to continue a population explosion from a billion a century back to 15 billion in a few decades. Population growth, rising expectations and inequalities, unrest and grabbing resources, wars, global warming, food shortages, freshwater shortages, pollution, decimation of non-human species in plants and animals. Add your own favorite ideas and there could be a ton of them. Why? Some sense. Earth has enough for everyone's needs but not for man's greed. Man can only survive if he lives in harmony with other species. Remember, in spaceship Earth, nature has no waste bin, so we have to recycle everything or cart it to another planet, which will cost a couple of $1 billion for each spaceship launch. How? Is it possible? Yes. Let's what exactly the 21C pilot project at Chamba is designed to do. We are short of time, a generation or two or more we'll need to ignite hope and hopeless. An outline of the common feasible approaches which can cover 70% of the globe, then can be customized and adapted to local needs. The main technologies which we're talking about are information technology and knowledge management and learning, solar power, especially CSP or concentrating solar power, in which you basically take the heat and mirrors, concentrate and produce high temperature solar power. Aquaponics. We have videos of that which we can show if time permitting. These can be adapted for most parts of the globe and developing countries. These techniques, while other techniques can also evolve, and there are many of them, but these 3 can be done in most parts where there is human habitation. Let's understand each of these. IT and knowledge management. Use IT to learn how to use computers for learning and e-learning. Social website to exchange ideas, contacts and social learning across the world and in networking across. Learn how to build local websites for motivating and building teams, networks through smartphones, tablets. Train in ERP, IT-based outsourcing, project management, governance, etc. Become local IT-based entrepreneurs and do offshore work which could come from across the globe or could come from nearby regions or cities and towns in India. Create jobs and employment in the villages so that people don't have to go down to the cities to get jobs. Let's talk about CSP. Localize the design and fabrication of CSP solar plants. Train local village. I have in fact a video which we could show time permitting, which gives how it can be done. And within a couple of months, train local village and town fabricators and erectors who can make 80% of the CSP plants with 2 to 6 months of training. Give CSP skills so villages can make and operate their own CSP plants. Each one becomes an entrepreneur and trains others villages, so it becomes a cascading MLM plan. Create local employment with CSP plants and keep building the plants. Each plant can export solar energy into the grid and meet our shortages of electric power. Aquaponics, how it works. You rear fish. Tilapia is a very popular thing, but in Chamba we are planning to try out trout also. Feed the fish eat the feed, they dirty the water, pass the dirty water over a bioreactor which converts the dirt into fertilizer rich water which is organic food for the plants. The plants float in a tank and the roots hanging into the nutrient-rich water. The roots suck up the clean water along with the nutrients and clean up the water. The clean water is recycled back to the fish tank. So it's a recyclable, sustainable thing, and you don't need extra fertilizer, you don't need tractors, you don't need pesticides, and you don't need a perennial supply of water, which is very important because 2/3 of Indian agriculture is based on the monsoon. If the monsoon fails, our food supply fails. Here, you can store water in the monsoon period, and water is not going to be used. Only evaporation losses and leakages have to be replenished, which is a fraction of what the water going to be used. So we can start filling up our aquifers, etc., and increase. And aquaponics, the productivity of the growing plants, etc., is way much more than of current. We have a video to show some of this thing. As I said earlier, water is going to be scarce, and 2/3 of Indian farming depends upon the monsoon. Good soil helps. Fertilizers makes a difference. What if we could use technology to solve these issues? Food production would be revolutionized, and we could support a larger population. It is not affected by energy prices. How? So we understood the problem. We've understood some possible solutions. We create networks of like-minded people. We inspire them and train them for a better world and success. We have a framework called You Do It for re-engineering the processes, etc., and various other technologies. And once the e-learning and IT has been placed, we can add more technologies, and this becomes a regular process for introducing change and all that. We use the knowledge machine for e-learning, testing, certification of the manpower, resources, and have a skills database. So, and have a PRP, a personal resource management system. So each individual will have his Aadhaar number, and he'll have a computer-based record which is kept up to date with all transactions, all the learning he's had, all his school certificates, his birth certificates, and everything. And then we have virtual network organization, healthcare systems, and a village level panchayat governance system where all the transactions are captured at the lowest level, and then they're kept online and they can be used. We are having a generation gap. People used to retire at the age of 60 and they probably popped off by 65 or something. Now people are living to be 75, 80. So they've effectively got a third career and they're not equipped for it, and neither are their retirement plans equipped for it. But they're capable, they've experience, and we can use this resource and make the resource of the younger generation, children of class 6 or 8 onwards, who are quick to catch on to new technologies, etc. The new work systems, you can have virtual organizations. You don't have lifetime employment with the company or with the government or wherever it is. But these organizations will form and they'll be disbanded. They'll form, do the project, and then be disbanded. So you will have to, and you'll have to keep learning because new knowledge is being developed every day. In fact, Toffler says knowledge is doubling every 2 years. And if knowledge doubles every 2 years, you have to keep learning. So you have to keep learning and keep adapting. For checking out this thing, and lastly, we are going to be building up this as a pilot to check out these concepts and ideas. And an essential part of this pilot is that it should be replicable. That means if it has been done in Chamba and say 2 or 3 villages, it should be possible to replicate this experience. The complete thing is not only the technology, it's the technology, the culture, the management practices, the processes, the systems, and everything, including e-learning, so that it can be done across the world. So anybody who's a part of the network can start doing it. And we don't have to wait for the whole pilot to be successful to go ahead for it. If we find that some things are good, if this is on the network, a social network typically, which will be a tailor-made for this project, then we can have people from all parts of the world to see what's going on there and share ideas. In fact, as Veronica has pointed out, the UNDP has a solution exchange concept. It would be something similar but much more powerful using the latest technology of social networking, hangouts, video conferencing, networking, and all that stuff. So all these ideas could be shared, and we could integrate, say, universities, engineering college labs, scientific research, agricultural universities and research centers with the farmer. So he knows everything what's going on. So these would be done, and the various processes, etc., would be tested out, and eventually we are doing more of this thing on this thing on the network, indiaahead.net at wikis. Visit us there, and thank you.